Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I haven't done this in a while. Let's see if I remember, if I know how. I think it'll be okay. Doing a YouTube live today. It is Groundhog Day 2024. See if anybody's out there. See if anybody will join me. That's okay. If you don't, you can catch this later. So today I want to talk just a little bit about the immersion course that's coming up, the BQH Immersion course. And that is going to be April 28th to May the 3rd. So what is the BQH Immersion course? We've been getting some questions, some emails coming in asking a few things. The first question is it still on? Yes, it's still on. We've been doing live BQH courses here in Kansas since 2020. Yes, indeed, all the way through the the crazy years 2020, 2021, 2022. We never stopped, and we're not stopping. We're still doing the courses. They've changed a little bit. So we started out doing the BQH course, sort of just repeating the online course in a live version. And that was great. And then we figured out pretty quickly that we could do this a little better. So instead of calling it the BQH Live, the Beyond Quantum Healing Live course, we started calling it the immersion course, because what we were having people do is go through the basic structures, the basic information, become familiar with the material online first. And once they do that, then show up here live to meet in person others who might be interested to do that kind of thing, meet up in person, actually learn in person with a little more depth. So we called it immersion, and immersion has been a great word ever since the beginning, because BQH has a lot to do with water. And thinking about this upcoming course after, gosh, this will be 2024, so beginning the fourth year of the live portion of the course. And of course, we released the course in 2017, 2018. So it's been a number of years, and now there's thousands of BQH practitioners practicing all over the world. And we have the course available in many languages. And you can check that out at quantumhealers.com. Okay. But, some of the biggest reasons to go, first of all, to come see us all, to come visit, to come schmooze. Most of the last classes we've had Donna McMurtry and Sister Diana Adair coming in from Colorado, and they are brilliant, beautiful BQH practitioners. Now that right there, folks, is reason enough to come. And I mean it. These gals are amazing. Not only do they help assist teaching in the class, they cook gourmet, often completely organic and very often vegan feasts for us. Some really wonderful food. So what we're doing is we're meeting in a lake house not far from here, not far from the farm. I'm at the farm today. And it's a beautiful Airbnb. And in this Airbnb, there are rooms, and people can come and stay there. Or if that's too much peopling for you, and I totally understand that, we have, a couple of motels here in town, and there's also more Airbnbs if you want a little more privacy. So there's that. And then some people really like the whole house version of it, coming together. And it's in this house that we do all of the instruction, and we swap sessions, and we immerse ourselves in the experience of BQH. Okay, so you get to practice, right? You get to practice with your colleagues in real life, not online. And it's a different experience. It's not better, it's not worse, but it is different. And if you haven't done it yet, it's a great place to come and try that out. All right. And you will absolutely be learning from other people while you're there, both in a casual way and then during the sessions. And it's often a mix of very experienced practitioners and, more beginning practitioners. And a lot of beginning practitioners, or newer practitioners, I should say, like to come to the immersion, because swapping sessions, a number of sessions over several days, is what they are really interested in. So some people who do this work are not in a community or have people nearby or comfortable enough to swap sessions, online like that with even our colleagues, and they want to come in person to do that. And this is the best place to do that. Okay, why would you want to come? Well, you know, Wichita, Kansas area is not really a destination location. This isn't Hawaii. This isn't anything like Sedona or Santa Fe. But there's some real reasons to come here. I mean, the house is lovely. It's a sprawling lake house, and it is on a lake in Augusta. The lake is really beautiful. It's a very large lake, actually, but it's able to be walked. I think it's 1.5 miles or 2 miles all the way around. And many of the people who've come like to take strolls around the water. And there's a deck, and the house sits right on the lake. And something about that water, again, immersion, BQH, we use water alchemy. We use water as a liquid consciousness communication tool in our sessions. And something about being right on the water is absolutely brilliant. And speaking of water, more and more things are happening with water. There's more discoveries with water. I've learned some things about the body and water and our muscles and memory retention and all of that. We talk a lot about water in the body. We play around a little with Veda Austin's work with freezing water in Petri dishes, even right there in the house, after sessions, between sessions, things like that. We do that. And there are a number of my own sessions lately where water just explodes in importance in these sessions. And I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what might be possible using this very simple but elemental thing, water. Okay. It's not really a retreat. It's a working time together, but some people love getting away from their regular lives and showing up with others and focusing on, the work that we all love and kind of meeting others in your tribe. So that's another reason to go. I already mentioned the good food. I mean, really, there's good food. So, the lunches are created for you with dietary restrictions kept in mind by our beautiful team of cooks, Donna and Diana. Okay, it's a small class. Traditionally, we've had 12. And we've reduced it, actually. We've said, you know what? Let's keep it even a little quieter, a little more intimate. And we have 10. We have the top cutoff number of 10. And I think there's already 6 people who've signed up. So there's only 4 positions and 4 spots left. But I thought I'd come on. I hadn't done a YouTube live in a while. Remind everyone that it is coming up. But we do have 4 spots left. Yes, we do. Okay, so what are the prerequisites? Well, we do ask that you already go through the BQH course. Some of you may have already gone through it and just never got around to practicing. This is made for you. Now, to be very clear, is very helpful if you have practiced or tried to practice, or at the very least, you are very familiar with the material. It's the wrong thing to show up and go, yeah, I went through it, but I'm not going to review it. And I hope all that review happens there and I don't have to relook at the material. That wouldn't be helpful for anyone there. It's good for you to have at least a good understanding of all of what is going on in the foundational aspects of BQH. Now, we are famous at BQH for allowing creativity and your own versions and use of and modifying of the course materials in your own practice. That being said, as much as we encourage you and say, go right ahead, you just make it yours, completely yours. For showing up at the BQH Immersion course, we do ask that the people who show up not present a completely different version of BQH. We ask them to pretty much follow the foundational principles, the 3 components, the induction, the water alchemy, the healing portions, using the basic script. You can make your adjustments outside of the immersion class, and you can be creative within the session, of course, always, but the main tenets need to be understood and adhered to during the class. This is for the benefit, especially for those who are new. We just don't want to get them confused. Once you've got the basics down, everything is available to you off the charts. Speaking of off the charts, one of the things I really want to talk about in this immersion class that we we really hadn't done at all before is we want to talk a little bit more about a kind of a sister course that we offer called Quantum Connect. Now, the Quantum Connect is not BQH, and BQH is not Quantum Connect. They're two separate courses. What is Quantum Connect? Well, briefly, it is an open-eyed, no-trance method to assist your client, and show them that they are always connected to their higher selves. No trance required, very quick. And what has been happening, it's just fascinating. We are learning about this on the support forum. There's been a lot of breakthroughs with Quantum Connect, but not just within Quantum Connect. So some people, many of our most prolific and creative practitioners are using both BQH and Quantum Connect, and sometimes some of their other skills in combination, and bringing forth some spectacular session stories, results, outcomes, and discoveries. And we want to talk about that a little bit more, about how some of the Quantum Connect skills and elements can be used in BQH, combined with BQH, or in a creative way. You know, there really is new frontiers out there, and we are looking for them, and we are searching for them, and we are open-minded about all of them. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? I think I have gone through all of my notes. So I know some people are watching. Nobody said anything in chat yet, and that's okay. But if you have any questions, do pop them into the chat box right now, and I will answer them. But let me go over the dates once again. So it's April 28th to May 3rd. That's the springtime class that's coming up pretty quickly. I mean, today's February 2nd. It's Groundhog Day, right? Actually, I almost did a whole different video about Groundhog Day, but I'm going to save that for another day, even though it's Groundhog Day today. Going to have to save it. And you know why more than anything? It's almost 70 degrees outside. I don't know if Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow or not, but here it's sunshiny. It's almost 70. My caregiver is leaving in an hour and a half, and I'm going to wrap this up, get outside, and get on my horse, because it's just too nice to be inside. And I've been working since about 5 a.m. and I'm about done. I'm finishing with you guys here. Again, April 28th to May 3rd is the immersion course, but we have a tentative fall date scheduled already, and that is October 6th through 11th. Oh, here we have Rise with Ro. He saw his shadow. Early spring. Watched the movie last night. Couldn't resist, right? Yeah. So, you know what? I know. I love that movie. The one with Bill Murray, right? It's just the greatest movie ever. It's the greatest movie ever. You know what? Maybe I'll give a short version of the Groundhog Day story I was going to talk about. I don't think I talked about this all anywhere else except for on our forum, but it kind of reminded me of Groundhog Day. It's not Groundhog Day the movie, which is, you know, the day repeats and repeats and repeats. Anyway, this thing happened to me a few months ago. It's been, and it was really, really odd. But I think, you know, I'm always open-minded when something very odd happens to me. I ask a lot of questions, you know, to myself. Why is this happening? What could I learn from it? How can I see it in a new perspective? So what am I talking about? Well, it's kind of deja vu. So it's sort of a, you know, a deja vu kind of thing, which kind of fits into Groundhog Day. So bear with me with that loose association. So what happened was this. I had a dream, and it was just this dream where I walked into this very humble, very sparse, but very large space, really. It was a gym. It was a gym with weights and mats and workouts and rooms and things like that. And I had a dream, and had a dream that I talked to my friend named Kim there. And I didn't even really remember this dream at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't. I didn't remember the dream, but I woke up from that dream not remembering the dream and getting on with my day. And that day I was supposed to meet my friend Kim at a brand new gym here in Augusta, Kansas. And it is it's a very, very humble space. They're not great anything. You know, there's mixed matched collection of dumbbells. There's this machine from that series and that thing. And, you know, somebody put it together, and it's great for something close by. It's nothing fancy. It doesn't have a beautiful sauna or changing room or anything like that. But it's a place where if you want to go lift some weights, you can go. And I told my friend Kim I wanted to check it out with her, and she was meeting me there the next morning. And I had completely forgotten about my dream until I opened up the door and I walked in, and I started to get a clue about it. And I think I might have, well, I don't know. I'm forgetting some of the details now. I should have probably looked that up before starting to talk about it. I'm going to set aside how it all started, but I ended up talking with my friend Kim, just having a conversation. And as the conversation was going, I was remembering more and more and more of the dream. And I said, I just dreamed about this. And then I dreamed about us talking about this. And so that was this weird deja vu moment. But that's not the weird thing about this day that I had, because as weird as having the dream that then repeated in real life in that space, the whole thing kept going. It just kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going. And I guess that's a little bit like that Bill Murray movie, right? So what happened is I knew it was going to happen about 5 to 10 seconds before anything would happen. So everything that happened in the gym, 5 to 10 seconds before it did happen, I would know that that was the thing that was going to happen. Now, it's weird when it happens once, but when it happens and then happens and then happens, it starts to get very strange. And I finished my workout, and I finished talking, and I finished all that, and I'm kind of weirded out, and I'm headed to my truck. I get in my truck, and what happens is the whole drive home, the same thing happens. It's something like I'm coming up to a stop sign, and I'm like, okay, the next thing that's going to happen is a green truck is going to come in from my right, and then a dump truck's going to pass me head on. And those two things would happen without any, knowledge or seeing them coming. And so that was weird. And it just kept happening. And there's not a whole lot that one can experience from the gym in Augusta here to my farm. Meaning, there's not a lot of things to pass, or not a lot of vehicles or anything like that. But every single one of them happened, including coming up on a horse trailer, including seeing the livestock in that trailer, including seeing and knowing what the colors of the horses were on the horse. But I didn't know it ahead of time, even a minute. It was just a few seconds, right? It was every time it was 5 or 10 seconds before something would happen, I would already know that it was going to happen. Now, sounds kind of like a cool movie, right? Except for, let me tell you what, for a regular 3D normal person, it was intense. And it wasn't that anything out of the ordinary, but I knew absolutely everything that was going to happen. By the time I got to my driveway and my mailbox, I was absolutely, I was nauseous. I was starting to get physically ill from the fact that I knew what was going to happen. I had a heads up for every small moment, every increment of time that came in front of me, every single thing. It ended up not being fun. It's kind of interesting to talk about right now. And we all think, ooh, cool, right? I'm psychic. I know what's going to happen. It was really strange. And it was so disorienting. I was getting physically ill from it. And it happened most of the day, and towards the end of the afternoon and evening, it finally wore off. But the only way I could really handle it was to not really be around anyone. I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't want to know what it was too freaky. And I stepped back away from it. So, what do you do with that? Well, here's what I do with that. After some time has passed, I've even forgotten some of the details, obviously. How do I explain the phenomena? You've had it happen to a lesser degree. I don't know how I explain it. Here's how, and thank you, Rise with Ro, for asking. I think it's part and parcel of something else that we are that we're experiencing, and that I've got an upcoming video. I've already recorded it, I edited it, but it's going to be released a little later. It's going to be released next month. I'm trying to produce some content and release it on a schedule. It's this video that's coming up is called Multidimensionality 3 Ways. And I don't even talk about this experience. I kind of had forgotten about it. Well, not really, but so much happens. I can't keep it all in front of my mind. But I think this is another, excuse me, I've got a little catch in my throat. I think this is another example of what being multidimensional is. And I think when we are allowed to have moments or small pieces of multidimensionality, we can move closer to accepting our multidimensional selves. I think if full-on multidimensionality was given to you in some sort of big giant package in one fell swoop, you would either, you'd just descend into madness, or maybe even decide to leave your body. Really, I really think that's true, because just that day, I was my head was getting swimmy, and I didn't want it anymore. It was like, that's enough. I don't want to anymore. And it was something a little different than, a lot of mediums and psychics will say things like, I really have to guard against, like, going near cemeteries or going in crowds, because sometimes when they don't have that screen or that filter up, they're bombarded with too much information like that. So it wasn't quite like that, because that's kind of other people's stuff, and maybe it's coming that way and you can kind of do this, but to have it be your own movement through reality that's presented to you. I don't know that I've never heard of anybody else talking about this, quite frankly. If you've ever heard of anybody else talking about this in any other context, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read about it, meet them, talk about it, or whatever. Bilocation, I don't know if that's bilocation. Actually, bilocation, sort of bilocation, is one of the things I talk about in my upcoming Multidimensionality 3 Ways video. In there, I talk about a dream, and I talk about 2 different sessions, a session that I had many years ago and a session that I just had like last week. And they're all, I think, they're another kind of experience that one can have, whether it, again, one was a dream and 2 were in sessions, but it was another way that humans or our consciousness can be presented with ways that I believe that umbrella term of becoming multidimensional fits in. That's my best guess, my best explanation so far. Hi, Sarah. Sarah says, I would guess that your higher self is giving the information so you would have that experience for whatever reason. Yes. And also, I'm very grateful to my higher self that nothing big came up, right? No one was hurt. There wasn't a trauma. It was a normal, mundane, nothing big happening event. But I mean, as I recall, there was even like going to the mailbox and knowing there was going to be a newspaper, this bill, and a green envelope from my aunt in Germany or whatever. I knew exactly what was going to be in there before I opened the mailbox. And I wasn't even thinking about it until the mailbox was right in front of me. I mean, it was just weird. It was every little thing like that. Jenny says, this is why so many gifted people locked up in, it's like, yes. A whole lot of people, and I just have chills even reading your words, locked up in psych wards. Absolutely. I've even known, I've had one client in particular that I reference quite a bit in my work. She was even committed and given electroshock therapy. And when we did a session, this was years and years ago when I was only doing QHHT, Dolores was still alive. She just had an angelic experience. She met and communicated with a being in a supernatural way, and then shared it with her husband and her doctor. Next thing you know, she was locked up. She lost her job. She got electroshock treatment. I mean, there's a reason people keep these things more private. Now, to be fair, that was many years ago, more than a decade ago now. Well, yeah, about a decade ago now or more. And we're better at this now as humans. There are more and more people talking about this stuff, and it's more and more accepted. So, hopefully there'll be less and less people showing up. But there's still people out there who are considered insane because they're hearing voices, right? What if that's a past life right there, or an aspect of you right there? We sit in trance and look for those experiences, and these people are having it happen, but it's kind of uncontrolled often, too much. They can't modify it, they can't regulate it, and they can't live in life out there 3D. Michael Johnson, I would think these things should happen a lot more as we move into the new age. More and more, we spend more time in high vibrational state as compared to a lower vibrational state. Absolutely. You nailed it right there. That is happening more and more. What's really interesting, I'm kind of going to tell on my father-in-law right now. He's 86. He sent me a text the other day. He was like, I'm seeing spirits. He said it offhand. And I think he might think that he's seeing spirits because he might be close to leaving the planet. And I'm not saying he is or he isn't. There's no particular reason. He's not in terrible health or anything like that. But he is, he's in his upper 80s. So you never know. But, my response to him was, more and more people are talking about this. It's very normal. And if you actually can get people to share, just walking down the street, it's not that uncommon. And you know what? Speaking of the very same man, my father-in-law, there's a family story that's told where he and his parents actually saw a UFO landing in a field, but he acknowledges there was an experience, but he won't acknowledge the possibility of what it was, even though what he saw happen could not have been explained in any other way except for some sort of extreme human advanced aircraft or extraterrestrial kind of beings doing that. And he just clams up about it. Now, I say that these experiences, that one from long ago and the one where he's seeing spirits, I find them related. But, humans, we compartmentalize some things like that. And depending on our belief system, I might not want to go there. There's Judith. What are the prerequisites? Sorry for shaking this and rubbing my nose while I'm answering. The prerequisites for BQH are going through the BQH course. So we don't do levels. The whole levels thing that is known in some other modalities has been problematic in my estimation from the very beginning. I say that with a lot of history and understanding of what levels have been in other courses. And of course, I have to be talking just a little bit about Dolores's course, because I was there when she moved from level 2 to this idea of level 3. As a matter of fact, I was the very first level 3 practitioner. And while on the outside, it seemed like a great idea, trouble ensued pretty quickly. And what do I mean by that? It means it didn't reflect to me what was actually going on, not in my own mind. A lot of people came up with this idea that a level 3 practitioner was the better ones, and that wasn't the case. Or that if they had a very serious issue, say a terminal illness, they needed a level 3 practitioner because they'd be better able to answer or help them. No, not at all. You know what? This side, heart. This is what's important. Your heart, not the levels, not even the number sessions you've made. Somebody with an open heart and a real desire to help can bring the energy to create a miracle that happened in their first or second session. Somebody who's jaded or focused on maybe book material or creating a big income, if their heart's not all the way in it, I would question if they would have the same potential to help a client create the kind of miracle that someone with a great big heart could do. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that a bit. So we have people go through the BQH material before they show up to the immersion class, just so that we don't do repeats. But, you know, you can be barely new, brand new, just get through the material, have most of the basics under your belt, and then show up. All right. Yeah. So again, let me say the dates once again. April 28th to May 3rd is coming right up. And then we have October 6th through 11th. All right. Okay, Jenny's going to say, and then I'm going to go. Oh, Allison, hi, love. Sorry about that thing that was supposed to happen later. Anyway, beautiful Allison. I've got 1 hour left before I turn into a pumpkin and have to be a caregiver again. Thank you so much, Allison, for talking about the immersion class in that way. Beautiful Allison is one of our best, most prolific BQH practitioners. Check her out, and her husband, Will Brown. They're amazing. Jenny says, so much prescience, normal pre-colonization. Sorry. I'm in New Zealand, and Celtic, Maori and Celtic descent. The various experiences you describe are often recounted. Aw, that's wonderful. If you've got any more information on that, drop me a link. Really, I'd love to go down that rabbit hole. All right, I'm going to go see my horse before I run out of time. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh gosh, I talked a whole lot longer than I expected to. Thanks for listening, everyone. Come see us in Wichita, or in Kansas anyway. I didn't even talk about the fact that you'd come out to my farm. That's the fun part. That's Friday. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Love you too. Love all of you. My heart to yours. Bye.